Hello, everyone. My name is Willa Daniels, and today we'll be learning about Josephine Bonaparte and the role she played in history. So, who was Josephine Bonaparte? She was wife to Napoleon Bonaparte, thought to be one of the greatest military leaders in history, and Empress of France and Italy. She had a tumultuous life and a torrid romance with husband and then ex-husband Napoleon that spanned over a decade. Josephine faced many challenges and hardships, but was also a revered member of French society and an influence of French culture for years to come, even after her death. Born Marie-Joseph Rose Tacher de la Pagerie on the island of Martinique on June 23rd, 1763, she went by Rose for the majority of her life until she met Napoleon. So, for that reason, we'll refer to her as Rose until then. She came from a royal French family of nobility. Her father, Joseph Gaspard Tacher, was a sugarcane plantation owner in the Caribbean. She was the first of three children, with two younger sisters, Catherine Desiree and Marie Francoise. Rose was sent to boarding school at 10 years old to be educated and prepared for society. Finding a husband of status was crucial for women at this time to make a life for themselves. Rose's family fell on hard times when they had troubles with the production on their plantation, and so she was brought into an arranged marriage through her aunt Marie Euphemie Desiree to her godson Alexandre de Beauharnais. 17-year-old Alexandre refused at first, stating that their age difference of 2 years, Rose being 15 at the time, was too close, but eventually he agreed. They were married on December 13th, 1779, in Noisy-le-Grand, France. Moving to France was an adjustment for Rose, as she had spent virtually her entire life in the Caribbean. Tensions were high between Alexandre and Rose, as he didn't think her sophisticated enough for French society, and the couple had a general dislike for one another. But 4 years after marrying, the couple had two children, Eugene and Hortense. Alexandre was a neglectful husband and abandoned the family for over a year, living with a mistress and frequenting brothels. Due to his actions, a court-ordered separation was set into place. Rose returned to Martinique during her separation from Alexandre to spend time with family, but was forced to return to France in 1790 due to a slave uprising on their plantation. When she got back to France, her life would be about to change forever. By 1793, the Reign of Terror had begun in France under the leadership of the paranoid and brutal Maximilien Robespierre. There were recorded to be 17,000 official executions by guillotine and possibly 10,000 more deaths from imprisonment. In March of 1794, Alexandre was arrested under the suspicion of treason after poorly defending Mainz during the siege of 1793. He was thought to be a sympathizer to the royal family, as he was from noble descent. Deemed to be too closely connected to Alexandre, Rose was subsequently imprisoned in April of 1794. During her imprisonment, she wrote secret notes to her children on the backs of laundry lists until prison guards discovered her tactics. On July 23rd, 1794, Alexandre was executed by guillotine. Miraculously, Rose was released from prison shortly after, as Robespierre himself was executed by the guillotine just 5 days after Alexandre's death, and just before Rose's execution. After her husband's execution, Rose got by as well as she could as a single 32-year-old mother of two. A law in 1795 allowed her repossession of Alexandre's property, which helped to keep her and her children afloat until she could find a long-term solution. At this time, a woman's way to elevate herself was through men. Rose had multiple affairs with political figures and men of status to keep herself supported. One man happened to be Paul Barras, a member of the Directoire, a five-person committee that governed France after the fall of Robespierre. Through him, she was introduced to Napoleon Bonaparte, a young, promising soldier. Napoleon was quickly captivated by her beauty, and they began a romance. Upon meeting, Napoleon, who was 6 years her junior, was immediately enamored with Rose. He gave her the nickname Josephine, a feminized version of her middle name, Joseph. Their romance moved quickly, and the couple was wed in a civil ceremony on March 9th, 1796. However, Napoleon's family not only disliked that she was an older widow, but also felt awkward and out of place in her presence as a woman of status and style. Napoleon, an ambitious young soldier, moved swiftly through the ranks of the French military. Just 2 days after they wed, he had to leave his bride to lead the French army into Italy. While traveling, he wrote countless passionate letters full of desire and affection to Josephine, who rarely replied. When she did, her responses were apathetic and dismissive. In the fall of 1796, Josephine was rumored to be having an affair with an army officer, Hippolyte Charles. Upon hearing rumors of Josephine's infidelity, Napoleon confronted her. Josephine denied the accusation, but it harmed their relationship and angered Napoleon. After allegations of Josephine's infidelity, the dynamic of their relationship changed. Napoleon still wrote letters to Josephine while he was away, but they became cold and withdrawn, no longer filled with the passion from before. Scared to lose her position as his wife, Josephine never took another lover, but Napoleon began having affairs openly and with multiple mistresses. In 1799, times began to change. Napoleon staged a successful coup to overthrow the Directoire and subsequently became the next leader of the French government. Josephine became highly involved in the French society to uphold the status of her husband and secure her place as his wife. In 1804, Napoleon was elected the Emperor of the French, and Napoleon and Josephine were coronated on December 2nd, 1804. At the coronation ceremony, Napoleon first crowned himself and then Josephine, symbolizing a rejection of the clergy's power and beginning a new era for France. Afterwards, the couple moved into the Château de Malmaison outside Paris. Offices that had been previously filled during the King and Queen's reign were filled again, and Josephine was given a court of ladies in waiting, some of which she would catch Napoleon in bed with later. More troubles continued to plague the union between Napoleon and Josephine. After 15 years of marriage, Josephine had yet to produce an heir. There are numerous possible explanations. She was past the age of peak fertility. At this time, she was over 40 years old. She may have contracted a uterine infection in prison, and she may have faced complications with past pregnancies that impaired her ability to bear more children. Napoleon decided that, in the interest of France, he would divorce Josephine and marry a young princess, Marie Louise of Austria. On January 10th, 1810, the couple divorced in a solemn public ceremony in which they recited vows of continual love and devotion towards one another. Napoleon never stopped loving Josephine, despite the issues they faced throughout their marriage. He has been quoted to say, "It is a womb that I am marrying," in response to his new marriage to Marie Louise. After her divorce from Napoleon, Josephine continued to live at the Château de Malmaison. Napoleon left the estate to her and moved to the Grand Trianon nearby. She remained on good terms with her ex-husband, and it is even suspected that she continued to meet and have romantic reunions with Napoleon. Josephine died at age 50 of tuberculosis in 1814, just 5 years after her divorce. Napoleon learned of her death through a French journal while he was on exile in the island of Elba in Sicily, Italy. 7 years later, Napoleon also passed away. His last words were, "France, the army, the head of the army, Josephine." Josephine was a respected member of French society during her time by Napoleon's side. She was an influential art collector, and many of her residences were designed for her preferences. She gained a great love for paintings, sculptures, fashion, rose gardens, and interior design. Through her children, Eugene and Hortense, she is the ancestor of present-day royal lineages of Belgium, Denmark, Luxembourg, Norway, and Sweden. She is remembered for her kind and charming demeanor, beauty, and engaging presence, and has left a lasting mark on French style and culture. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed learning about Josephine Bonaparte. Her life had many ups and downs, but in the end, she has created a lasting influence on French society and is a symbol of beauty and power of a new age of France after the Revolution.